It's important to be vigilant about your health. Go to your GP, your doctor, go to the dentist. But you also have to be vigilant about making sure that your skin is healthy as well.
Yeah, as it turns out, there are things about skin cancer that might actually surprise you. News4Jax reporter Ashley Harding has spoke with a local dermatologist, joining us now live to break down some of the biggest myths about melanoma and overall skin health. And Ashley, some of the things you learned about were very interesting and especially for you, very eye-opening.
Melanie, they certainly were, and I didn't realize there were so many different facets to melanoma, things I never would have thought about. Now, the dermatologist outlined what some of these misconceptions are and how to best protect yourself. Bottom line, we all need to make sure we're paying attention to our skin health and not just when it gets hot outside. And yes, that includes me. Take a look. When the sun is out and the temps are high, spending time outdoors is a no-brainer. I mean, this is Florida. It's what we do. But the risk of skin cancer is always something you need to think about. And if you have any questions or concerns, you shouldn't wait to see a doctor.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming.
After noticing a troubling mole on my back several months ago, I realized it was time to stop putting it off. Dr. Jonathan Cantor says prevention isn't something you should take lightly.
If a doctor offers you a full skin exam, you really should take it. I can't tell you how many times, we've ended up finding the melanoma in a spot that the patient had no idea they even had.
Dr. Cantor says there are many things about melanoma moles that may surprise you. For one, he says a lot of melanomas are found in places that aren't exposed to sunlight. In fact, many are in spots you wouldn't even notice yourself. Another big melanoma myth to bust is how it feels. Dr. Cantor says when doing a self-check, people are often looking for a bump.
Many melanomas are actually flat. About half of melanomas come from a pre-existing mole. Half just come up out of the blue. But again, most of the time they're going to look flat, at least in the beginning.
So what exactly should you be looking for? Dr. Cantor says A, B, C, D, E is a good rule of thumb. A for asymmetry, B for border. Ask yourself, are the borders a little bit fuzzy or vague at the mole? Also, color variation. If there is brown and black, he says that's a concern. You also don't want to see any red either. D is for diameter. Is it bigger than a pencil eraser? Finally, E is for evolving. If it appears to be changing, that's something you need to pay attention to. But skin cancer myths aren't limited to just moles. Dr. Cantor says some people are under the impression that getting a burn around the start of summer is a good thing. Not true.
Getting that sun at that level early on, getting those burns probably does increase your risk of skin cancer. So you're getting a big, UVA, UVB hit as well.
Speaking of being out in the sun, Dr. Cantor says some people think they need to be outside for a while to get the right amount of vitamin D. Not true. He says spending about 10 minutes a day, just a couple times a week, is plenty. Once again, if you have questions or concerns, head to the pros. So that all leads us back to my visit with Dr. Cantor. After a second look, he decided this bad boy needed a closer check. He ordered a biopsy. A week later, I got the results. And here I have those results. Now, I have to admit, I was a little nervous waiting, especially after Dr. Cantor looked a second time and said, hey, we need to look at this more closely. It's definitely a lesson for me, and I hope this inspires people to get themselves checked out if something seems amiss. And we will have these results coming up right after the break.
So Ashley was just telling her story. She's out in the sun, at times, visited the dermatologist and got her test results.
Yeah, and I'm happy they came in the mail that way because that typically means better news.
I mean, it looks like a postcard kind of, doesn't it?
Oh, it is a postcard.
Well, literally, yes, it is. But the bottom line is my pathology results were benign, so I was definitely relieved about that because, I went to Dr. Cantor, I asked him to take a look at this, and he's like, oh, you know what, I think that's going to be okay. But then, honestly, he looked again, and he said, you know what, we're going to biopsy this. So then
what was your reaction?
My reaction was, okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm not going to say no for sure. And, I'm glad he did because it really was eye-opening for me. We're all getting older, but this is something we all need to think about at any age. But as I'm getting older, these were things, when I was younger, I really didn't think about things like this. But now that I'm older, you really can't take any
When
chances.
is,
But
yeah, I was
I
going
was
to
going
say,
to say, it's very treatable if it's diagnosed early.
Right.
But it's a problem if it takes a long time, and it's deadly in some cases if you wait too long.
right. But when you get that uh-oh from the doctor, that's not what you want to hear. Were you worried?
I admit I was, and I don't get worried very often, but when he said that, I thought, okay, yeah, this is concerning. So that's why I really wanted to share this with our viewers, that you really just cannot be too careful with this, and you cannot ignore your skin health as well.
And a lot of the problems that develop because of exposure when we were kids.